So welcome back to Talking YouTube, and this week we're doing a Q&A with Steve, and it's great to have everyone back with us. We've got some existing questions that we've taken from both of our comments section, which we're going to be going through today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about both my journey on YouTube and Steve's, in addition to hopefully taking your questions as we progress through the evening. So if you do want to ask a question, please do preface that with 3 capital Qs. I do anticipate the chat might get a little bit busy. It usually does, and I'm not very good at seeing all of the questions if you don't put the 3 Qs in front of it. We've already got Naz here and Mohit as well. So welcome, guys. It's great to see you with us.
Good evening,
Steve,
everyone.
how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, it's Friday night, and I've been looking forward to this one. So, looking forward to getting started.
You had a busy week on YouTube?
It's been like most weeks on YouTube. It's been up and down. Yeah, 2 videos out this week. One didn't do so well. The follow-up talking about that video doing a bit better. So it's been, yeah, just like most weeks. It's a roller coaster.
It is a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it? Especially when you're first starting out. It's almost like talking about the doom and gloom side of YouTube. That seems to do better oftentimes.
I'm good at that. I'm good at that.
Well, yeah, I've noticed a little
There's
bit miserable.
plenty of it to talk about. So.
I'd like you to be a little bit more cheerful tonight. That's not the message we really want to convey to people.
No, that's it. No, it's all positive. It's Friday night. It's Friday night.
Exactly. But you know I'm only joking with you. I've got a bit of a dry sense of humour. So, hi, Chappie. Nice to see you there. Yeah, and like there's nothing more exciting than middle-aged men at home on a Friday night. I want to argue with you there. I'm 35. I don't know if that counts as middle-aged, but well, I guess it does. What the hell? Yeah, middle-aged men on a Friday night talking about YouTube. You can't beat it. And we've got Rob here tonight.
Going out, isn't it?
Hi, Rob. Nice to see you. I chose a better time to go live tonight, so I'm not clashing with you because that was a big mistake. So yeah, we've got a few people in the audience, but like I said, I've already got some questions which I've pre-prepared. I've gathered them from the comment section of both of our channels, and I've picked out some of the best ones. So shall we get into those until we get some questions from the audience, Steve?
Sounds good. Yep.
So I had an interesting question, and it was, if my video doesn't do well in the first day or so, does that mean it's a failure? I've just started and heard that you need to upload 3 times a week. Is that true? Well, I think there's kind of 2 questions there to unpack. I'm going to answer the first one, and Steve, if you want to go for the second one. So if my video doesn't do well in the first day or so, does that mean it's a failure? Well, absolutely not. There is nothing to say that your video won't do well as the days, weeks, or months progress, especially if it's something that people are going to search for. And even if it's not necessarily got a lot of search terms built into it, the fact is that videos don't always do well straight away. Sometimes they take a few days, weeks, or even months before they pop off. I don't know what you have to add to that, Steve, but I think that's a fairly accurate statement.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely right. There's videos, especially as you say, if they're kind of searchable terms in the titles and things that are kind of going to be potentially evergreen kind of content, they could pop off at any kind of moment. I think you should always look at that when you put out a new video, that you just have to, even if it doesn't have that initial traction that you're looking for, because we all put out videos with high hopes that, this video is going to do well because we put time and effort into it. But if it doesn't, your best is to look forward, and then you just don't know. And, just to kind of mention it, obviously this week you've had a good example of that with your video, Jay, on the the studio app video that you did, and it took over 2 weeks for that to really shift on, and look what it's done. So it's very here and now kind of proof of the pudding.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good example. I uploaded that video over 2 weeks ago now, and despite the fact that I got good traction initially among my subscribers, I was really quite upset with the fact that YouTube kind of stopped pushing it out after after about 80 views. And I thought, well, why is that? You know, the CTR was relatively high, the AVD was high, the average view duration was high. And I was a little bit upset with that. So I'd written it off, as I do most of my videos, and then I just moved on, because that's always the best way to be, regardless of how well your video does. Hit upload. There's no point sitting there moping around waiting to see how it does. It's not, you know, it's not a lottery ticket. The point is to make consistent content and to continue making consistent content. And if your video does well, you're still going to be making your next video. So that's what I did. And then a couple of days ago, exactly 2 weeks after it uploaded, I just saw a sudden spike in the views, and I thought, well, what's going on here? And for the last 48 hours, YouTube's been giving me over 2,000 impressions an hour on that video. So it just really goes to show that no, if your video doesn't do well in the first day, it's definitely not over. Any video has chance of doing well at any time, especially if it's a good video, and that's why you need to focus on making the best content that you can. You know, you can push out as many videos a week as you want to, but if they're not the best videos, then the likelihood of those videos doing really well is lowered. Would you agree on that, Steve?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, in your example, that video, you know, it was clear that you put a lot of time into it, and like you said, all the right signals were there that that video should be doing better than what it did do in maybe its initial few days. You know, good average view duration, good click through rates. You know, it was well put together. It was funny. So there was
Thank you.
loads of things going for it, and you know, I've had videos like that as well, where you know all the signals are there, but for whatever reason, YouTube just decides that no, you know, I'm not going to push that any further. And rather than, you know, and you know, I was kind of the same. You kind of beat yourself up about it, going, well, you know, and you know, ironically, when you're talking about removing the YouTube Studio app, but you kind of go down a rabbit hole with the analytics, trying to figure out, well, why, when all these signals are there, everything's telling YouTube this video should be doing better than it is, but you know, you'll never kind of get to the bottom of it, you know. And you know, with your video, it obviously had decided, okay, I'm going to stop there, and then 2 weeks later, it's said, right, yeah, let's go for it. And it's just good for anyone that's watching this, or that's, you know, been watching your, or monitoring that video, because I know a lot of your subscribers will be aware of you know, that video kind of taken off the way it has done in the last few days.
Potentially,
It's a
yeah.
great reminder that it can happen when you least expect it, and
Yeah.
it can be, as you say, in your case, it was a couple of weeks, but it could even be months. So some of those videos that I'm talking about from my own experience, that, you know, it just goes to remind me, don't write those off yet. That's why I would never remove a video, because imagine if you did, and that could have been a video that would have maybe really moved the needle on your channel.
Exactly.
So you just have to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, I mean, we're not just looking for, you know, some sort of virality. I mean, although that's really nice, the fact is that some videos will continually get views over years. I mean, Rob's had videos that do that. I've had, to a lesser extent, videos that get, you know, 2 or 3 views a day, and have done since I uploaded them a couple of months ago. So to answer the question, finally, no, it doesn't matter if your video doesn't do well in the first day or two. It really doesn't at all. And also, that's just really no good for your mental health if you're going to sit there beating yourself up that your video didn't go viral in the first 12 hours. It's just it's not a consistent mindset that we're trying to foster. So hi Chappie, I'm just going to go through the comments here. So we've got Chappie here. Chappie, it's nice to see you. We've got YouTube over 40. I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. And obviously we've got Rob, we've got Vaughan. Hi Vaughan, and we've got Tracy here as well. It's good to see you, Tracy. Welcome back. And Catherine, if I haven't said hello already, nice to see you here. I know it's probably early in the morning over in New Zealand. So yeah, we've got a few people watching, which is really nice to see. So thank you everyone for being here with us tonight. And Rob said it's hard not to get sucked into the analytics, and he watches them far more than he should. Yeah, so as that video suggests, I actually deleted the Studio app. Obviously, I still check to see how my videos do, but the point I'm making is that on an hour-to-hour basis, it's not going to help me personally to be constantly checking my phone to see how that video is done. So I will check my video's performance on the computer or the Mac in the evening when I'm working on my channel, and I think that's perfectly reasonable and healthy. My wife's happier. My phone battery lasts for longer than half a day now, whereas before I was charging it up twice. But I think it's, you know, it's important that we do check the analytics, as Rob's alluding to there. But it can
Yeah,
be a bit of a rabbit hole that we can fall down if we're not careful, especially when we
yeah,
we put so much work into them videos and we really want them to do well.
yeah, and you're proud of those videos as well, you know. And we were catching up just before the live started. You know, I think generally speaking, you know, there might be occasions where you're putting out a video then you think it's, you know, okay, I've maybe done better than that in the past, but generally speaking, we're, you know, we're, yeah, well, when you've been doing it for a few months, even I think you start to obviously kind of see the improvements in your videos, and you're obviously looking to continue those kind of incremental improvements with each video. So you're getting more and more kind of proud of the work that you do, the
Yeah,
videos that you create. So it's natural that you're, you know, I think we know that you can't pin your hopes on every next video being that one that really kind of shifts your channel forward. But
no,
there's
no.
always
I
that
used to
part
do
of you
that.
that's going to hope for that, right?
I used to do that. I used to do that a lot, and it wasn't good for my mental health. And I talk about mental health a lot when it comes to YouTube because it's quite intrinsically linked. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people who struggle with YouTube, and it means a lot to them. And also as a creator, you know, you like you've said, you put a lot of effort into the content that you make, and it almost feels personal when you've seen that when you see that people drop off the video or they give you a dislike, and some people can take that personally. And having a YouTube channel has really hardened me to that, and given me a bit of a thick skin, but also allowed myself to be more self-critical, but not in a bad way, you know.
Yeah.
And it really helped me when I realized and I reminded myself of the sheer scale of the platform and how many videos are uploaded on an hourly basis. You know, it's we are literally a very small drop in a very large ocean. So to expect our videos to do extremely well all the time, or even in the first couple of months of being on the platform, it's a little bit unrealistic, and it's also incredibly rare for that to happen. And you will hear about people having viral videos as their first upload, but it's an incredibly vocal minority, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a far more sustainable approach to just focus on making the best content that you can so that those videos do have a good chance of doing well long term.
Yeah. And I think that's it, you know. And you know, your videos, and I would even, you know, say my own videos, if I look back at the first kind of couple that I did, um, and you know, you do look back and go, right, I can see the improvements that I've made. So
Yeah,
you know, people are driven by kind of forward momentum, and if you feel like you are moving forward with your channel, even if it's not necessarily in the growth in terms of, you know, views and subscribers, but if you feel like you are seeing movement in terms of your delivery, in terms of your kind of editing and just the general quality of the content that you're putting out there, that should be encouragement to keep going, and know that that won't go unnoticed over time. You know, people will pick up on that. You know, those videos will start to get, you know, gradually more views, and then the great thing is that people come back, and when they do find your channel and go back and look at those older videos, they get to see that as well. Um, so yeah, I
that's true.
think, as you say, it's all about just keeping going. I was one of those people that would sit and wallow about videos that didn't do well, but it's just not a good use of energy. Um,
It's really
yeah,
not.
try and understand maybe why the video didn't do well. You know, do kind of, you know, scratch at the surface a little bit to kind of try and understand what maybe could have done better. Sometimes it's only watching it back even a week later that you go, okay, that could have been better, or this title and thumbnail maybe don't work as well as what I thought they did at the time. It just be your own biggest critic, but not to the point that you're beating yourself up about it.
Yeah, I mean, realize this as well. I mean, when you start a YouTube channel, it's almost like there are so many moving parts to having a successful YouTube channel and content creation in general. The analogy I like to use is driving a car. If you were to sit next to somebody driving a car and you watch them drive that car and you'd never driven one before, there's no amount of hours that you could watch them do it that's going to make you be able to do it yourself. And it's similar to YouTube. We'll sit there looking at all of these big channels with years of experience sometimes, and we want to make content like them. But the problem is
Yeah,
that our skills and the content we envision making, there's such a gap between those things. And the only way to get there is by making content, and slowly but surely over time you will improve. There really isn't any, replacement for practice.
that's right. And it's an unfair comparison when you're pitching yourself against channels that have got you know far larger subscriber bases, or who have been doing it for longer. Everyone starts somewhere, and
Yeah.
we all want to be as good as our favorite YouTubers, but you just have to realize there is a big learning curve that comes with YouTube, the technical side, and just just even mentally navigating the early stages of a YouTube channel. It's no one will appreciate the kind of hardships that come with it. There's a lot of positives, and I don't want to be downbeat about starting a YouTube channel, because I always encourage people to do it.
Yeah.
But you do have to either already have a bit of a thick skin, like you said, or certainly build one up, and just not get downbeat too much, not take things personally. A lot of the people will say, the algorithm's out to get me, but it's not really, is it? It's just doing its thing. It's completely unbiased, and
It's out to
sometimes you
get
just
you.
have to face up to the hard truths that you know sometimes it's just maybe like something that you've done or haven't done right. That's just how it is sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to sum up, succeeding on YouTube in one sentence, it would be make better videos, wouldn't it? I mean, that's
Yep.
one sentence, one way of summing up the whole process. That's it. If your video didn't do very well, it's likely that it wasn't a very good video. Unless there's some real, I don't think there's any other reason. If your video does really badly over a long period of time and it doesn't get any engagement, people didn't like it. There really it isn't a nice way of saying it, is there? Unfortunately, we've
Mm.
had some questions, so I'm not going to neglect the audience like I usually do, because it's really difficult when you've got a guest on to keep an eye on the chat at the same time as speaking to the person who's given up their night to come and sit with me. So we'll start with Ricky. Hi, Ricky. It's good to see you here tonight. And he said, what approach do you both take to building your audience for your channel? Do you want to go first, Steve, or would you like me to?
I don't mind. I'll go, Jay, if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
So, I mean, building the audience, really trying to think about the audience first with every video. Trying to kind of maintain that North Star of who am I making videos for? What do those people want to see? What questions do they need answered? Or what advice is it they're looking for? Whatever it is that you're talking about. So trying to always kind of make videos with that ideal viewer in mind. I think in terms of turning those viewers into an audience, or turning those subscribers into an audience, because people can subscribe to your channel, but then if they're actively engaging in your content through comments and things like that, or joining your lives, which is another good way to build your audience.
Yeah.
Making sure that we are engaging back. People don't owe you anything when they watch their video. So the fact that they're out of their own time choosing to leave you a comment, hopefully mostly positive, just responding to them. And I know that gets harder the bigger your channel grows, so I'm told. Um, but yeah, that builds community. So does the lives as well. So kind of always putting the viewer first with the content that you're creating, and always engaging with the people that have had the um, have come forward and actively engaged in your channel.
Yeah, it's about seeing people as individuals and recognizing them as people, and giving them the acknowledgement that they've spent the time to come and to come and watch your video. I mean, when I first started out, when I first got a comment, I was so happy that somebody had spent time watching my channel, and I think I don't think that I feel any less happy now when I get a comment. It doesn't matter how many I get. I still appreciate every single one, and I make sure that I go out of my way to show that appreciation by leaving a comment back to the person. If they've got a name in their channel, I'll call them by their name. And I think little things like that go a long way to building a connection with the audience, especially when you're just starting out, because nobody knows who you are. The only thing you've really got is what you're providing them as a viewer. Are you educating them? Are you inspiring them? Are you entertaining them? And if you're doing one of those three things, then I think your audience will grow naturally, because ultimately it's about providing value to that viewer. It's not about, oh, what do I want to make a video about today? And just, it's about making videos that people actually want to watch. And when you do that, people will want to watch them, obviously, and your channel will grow. So that's the approach that I take. I just focus on the viewer first, what they want to see, and hopefully I provide that. So I hope that's answered your question, Ricky. We've got a question here from Naz. I'm always a little bit nervous when Naz asks a question, because you never know when it's going to be slightly loaded or with a humorous twist. But he's asked your favorite and least favorite things about being a content creator. So that's a really good question. I think for me, if I'm to answer first, Steve, my least favorite thing about being a content creator is I think it's the time management. Because I've got a 9 to 5, it's a very difficult task managing a channel. All of the ideation, the planning, the scripting, everything that goes alongside making a video or two each week, alongside working a full-time job and having somewhat of a life outside of both of those things, is so difficult, and that's really not talked about enough, I don't think. But my favorite thing, well, I mean, there's more. There are too many to name. It's been almost, well, it's been a life-changing experience for me. I live in a very small village. I live quite a sheltered, boring life, and since starting my channel, I've met so many people from around the world. I've met people from Scotland. I've met people from America, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and I'm in contact with these people on a regular basis. And in many cases, the people I've met through YouTube have become better friends to me than anyone in my real life in such a short space of time. So that community on YouTube, it's really, it can't be overstated enough. And it's what saw me through the early days, and it's what keeps me going now. It's without a doubt my favorite part of being a YouTuber. What about you, Steve? Have I just stolen your answer?
Yeah, pretty much. But I'll try and answer it a slightly different way. So um, probably yeah. I mean, in terms of things that I struggle with, I guess it would be that kind of perfectionism thing. So you know we talk about quality over quantity. So quality, I think, is important, and it's not having the skills yet to be as good. It was kind of like what we mentioned a minute ago about comparing ourselves against the bigger channels who've been doing it for a lot longer. And in some cases, some channels, if you're talking people like Ali Abdal, they've got teams of people now that are doing stuff for them. So you can never compete with that as a small channel. But so I think not comparing is important, but not being able to get to that point sooner. And I don't necessarily want to be as big as that. I don't necessarily want a team of people working
Mm.
for me, but I just mean in terms of production and skills that other bigger channels maybe acquired, so maybe slightly slicker editing, for example, not be able to get to that stage quick enough, because and this kind of ties into what you were saying, is you're having to manage this around a 9 to 5. I've got young kids as well, which obviously put a demand on my time as well. And so it's having the time out with all that stuff to actually make YouTube videos, but then also try and hone my craft as well. So, learning new stuff, that comes through watching other people's videos as well. So finding the time for all that, you just have to accept that there's only so much you can pack into a day. And if you want to improve and learn, then you might just have to accept that it's at a slower pace than maybe someone who is, I don't know, in their early 20s or something, and doesn't have maybe quite the same commitments, might have more readily available time to kind of learn things quicker.
Yeah, we're all individuals, aren't we, Steve? We've all got such
Yeah,
different stories, and that's the thing. We can't compare ourselves for so many
yeah,
different reasons. It's not just because a channel's got a team behind it, although it's a very good reason not to compare yourself to them. But you might have 3 kids, I might have none. You might have 2 jobs, I might be part-time. There's so many different things, and that's why it's very individual. We've
yeah,
got a few more people in the audience. I just want to say hi and welcome. As you know, it's difficult to have a conversation with Steve at the same time as addressing every single comment, but all the questions I will be answering if you put 3 Qs in front of them. Mohit has asked a question, and I know after Mohit's live with me on Tuesday, he's very enthusiastic about continuing that habit on his own channel, which I highly recommend. He plans to go live every week now, and he's asking if we've got any advice. Now, I think that's a great idea. Rob was actually the person who encouraged me to go live on one of his videos, and I think he encourages it on his lives also. It's been a great experience for me. It's really helped build that community even more, not only because I have people on the lives with me, but just because it means there's a human live interaction with the audience, and it's completely invaluable. So any advice for you, because you're going to be doing it by yourself, and you don't know how many people are going to be on there, especially if you're doing it at different times. People might be at work. So I would simply say this, and I think this is advice you took from me before, Mohit, and you had some questions taken from your comments that you had ready to answer in times where there weren't any audience engagement. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, I'll just say relax and enjoy the process. It's not a video. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to worry about pauses or ums. People don't expect that. Just be yourself. That's why people subscribe to your channel, because they like you, they like your content, and they like what you talk about. So just do that, and keep doing what you're doing, because you did such a great job the other day. I don't think really there's any advice I can give you. Have you got anything to add to that, Steve?
Only I would say is, if you've not done any lives before, what I found in the first couple was give myself plenty of time before I start. Make sure that it depends on what your setup is. I mean, if you're literally going live through the YouTube app on your phone, then it's limited what you need to do. But if you're setting up cameras and things like that, don't and you've said you're going to be on at a certain time, don't leave it to the last minute. Make sure that you join or you get yourself set up and get yourself comfortable.
That's great advice.
A good 15-20 minutes or more even, before you start, just so that you're not flustered and you can kind of go into it and be nice and relaxed.
Absolutely. I always get on half an hour before to test the setup. I keep the setup very simple. I've got cameras and all sorts of things that I could use, but I've now settled on a USB microphone and a webcam, because it's simple, and sometimes you can't beat simplicity. So get on early, get your setup tested, and go for it. You're doing such a great job, Mahit. I don't think you need much more advice from me on that front, or from Steve, but well done. It's nice to see everyone in the comments socializing as always. It's always such a nice thing to see. It's one of my favorite things to do when I'm in other people's lives, to really network with other creators. So hopefully people are getting to know each other if they don't already. There's a few new faces as well, so welcome. Got a nice comment here from Alan Tejo Outdoors. Nice to see you, Alan. Alan Tejo. I'm not sure if that's your name, but nice to see you and welcome, and thank you so much. That's a great comment to read. And yeah, like Catherine says, it still astonishes me every time. It still astonishes me that anyone would want to watch me, and she's grateful. I feel that way too. Absolutely, every single time I get a
Yeah,
comment, every single time I get a view, and every time somebody tunes into these lives, I still kind of have to pinch myself and think, "Oh, actually, people want to see you," you know? So yeah, it's an amazing feeling, isn't it? Have you gotten used to that yet, Steve? When you see on the app that people have been watching you on their TV?
yeah, yeah. I try not to think them watching me on a TV. I think the bigger I am on a screen, the worse it is for people. But yeah, no, I'm just like what you said. I think you do. We talked earlier on about low views, but then you do have to remember that, especially like in our cases, we've only been doing this a short while, and
Yeah,
you know, to go from nobody watching your videos to kind of getting you know 60, 70 views on a video, it's still, if you really kind of peel it back, it's still quite an honor really that people would want to watch your video, assuming they're not all bombing out after 10 seconds, of course. But you know
yeah,
people are engaging with the people that are commenting on your videos and engaging with you. You know that they're actively engaged with your content, and it's nice to it's humbling to know that people want to watch you, and it's nice to have the support of the people that are coming back, and that's where you really start to feel like things are starting to move forward, is when the same people are commenting
yeah.
on your videos, and you're building something. Um,
It's building that
and
audience, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So that's often missing in the first, I guess it varies for everybody, but it could be the first weeks, months. But once you start to see that, that's a huge lift. So yeah, always appreciate everyone that watches and engages.
Absolutely, yeah.
You never tire of it.
Absolutely, and there's always the familiar faces that I always appreciate. I kind of consider the first 100 or so subscribers that I had, because I got to know them so well because it was such a small subscriber count that they almost mean not more to me, but I feel like I know them. They're like the originals, you know. And
Yeah,
I appreciate every single person, but I feel like those people I've gotten to know over time, and I can only hope that that continues as my channel carries on growing.
yeah,
Chappie's got a question for us about live streams. So Chappie's done a few live streams now, he says, and he's had no viewers do it during the stream, but he still treats it as if there are, which is, that's a great thing to do, Chappie, and it's a really difficult thing to do, I imagine. But what tips have you got for the live streams? Because could sub count have a little to do with it? Well, it could. I'm not sure how many subs you've got, Chappie. Maybe you can let us know. But it could definitely have something to do with it if you're going live with a lower number. I cheated on my first live streams because I had Naz on mine. So I knew that regardless of what happened, I'd have someone to talk to. So what you're doing is a really brave thing. What I said to Mahit earlier, Jim over 30, I would suggest to you, it's even more important if you know that you're unlikely to have many people on, is to prepare your subject matter before you start, so that you have a very clear plan of what it is you're going to be talking about as you go through the live stream. And you don't have to do an hour, you don't have to do half, you don't even have to do half an hour. You can do 20 minutes of talking about a couple of things that you've got pre-prepared, and then when people do join, they can see that you're, in a very concise way going through those points, and you're providing value. They're more likely to stay around. So I hope that helps you. But preparation and having something to say in advance is the way forward. But the next time I see you go live, Chappie, I'll definitely do my best to join. I didn't know that you'd been doing live streams, so there's a viewer for you if you do decide to go again. Scheduling in advance as well, so that people are aware of it. And if I see that you've done it in advance, I'll be sure to make a note of it and join you to keep you busy. So I hope that helps.
Yeah. I think it's worth just to kind of point out something as well.
Yeah.
I've joined people's lives who've got over 1,000 subscribers, and it's been going for 10, 15 minutes, and there's no one watching. So like
Really.
like I'll be the one person that's in that live.
Mm.
So don't think it's a handicap of being a smaller channel with lower subscriber numbers. I think it's it can even just be down to time of day. Where I mean, of your, because I've seen you put in the chat that you've got 26 subs.
Okay.
Um, where are they based? Do you know at this stage where they are, and is the time of day? Because if if they're in different time zones and things, then so don't be despondent about it. I think just keep doing them, and as Jay says, make the best use of them.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic advice from Steve there. It really is. And things will get better. And as you get more subscribers, more people are going to be notified when you go live. It's as simple as that. So it's not just about subscribers, like Steve said, but there's some great advice from him there. I hope that helps. Tracy's got a question for us, Steve. So she's asking, how many hours a week or day do you think you spend on YouTube creating, editing, answering comments, and also watching content and supporting other creators? I keep the watching content, unless I'm doing research, I keep that as a separate. I don't count that as my part of the work, because otherwise I wouldn't enjoy YouTube anymore, which is difficult because now that I watch other videos, I'm always analyzing hooks, introductions, the way that the story's delivered. That there's always something to learn. But regarding how many hours a week, I haven't actually added it all up because I'd probably be a little bit shocked. I'd say 30 personally, because each video I do probably takes me 20 hours with research, planning, recording, and editing, and then comments sporadically throughout the day, or for an hour or two in the evening. So yeah, maybe 30 hours a week, and that's for one video and one live, sometimes more, which is horrendous, really. But that's why we do it, because we love it, right? I don't know about you, Steve. Maybe you're a little bit less than that, or a little bit more even. You're doing more videos than me, aren't you?
Well, I was. I probably, I'm still aiming to do kind of 2 plus a live. And I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of being less kind of regimental about it now. It's just kind of sometimes it's just weeks where life gets in the way, and you think, right, okay, well, it's just going to have to be one video this week. But yeah, in terms of time, yeah, I mean, it probably I wouldn't say I've sat and tallied it up, but I could probably do a rough calculation, and it would be quite a surprising amount of hours, I think, that probably goes into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot of late nights, so a lot of my kind of research or planning and things will happen kind of from 10 p.m. to midnight some nights, um, and I have found like trying to do that, because the alternative is get up really early, but with having young kids, getting up early doesn't necessarily mean I've got that time to myself. So
Yeah.
it's a bit less predictable. So I tend to kind of prioritize later in the evenings. Um, and yeah, there's been times where you think, right, okay, I've done kind of fourth night in a row of being up till kind of half 12, 1 in the morning, and it's that's where you start to kind of worry about like burnout and stuff a little bit. So yeah, I don't know how much time it would be, but yeah, it is a lot, but it doesn't feel like a chore, um,
Yeah, that's right. It
because
doesn't feel like a chore to
yeah,
me, really. And
it's
that's the thing. When they say when you
every
find
element
something
of
that
it.
you love, it doesn't feel like work, right?
Yeah, every element of it is fun. Research, planning, scripting, uh, filming, editing, engaging afterwards is the best bit. you know, seeing people's comments coming in and responding and you know, sparking conversations and things.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all good fun. Um,
it
yeah,
is. Absolutely is. I think the name's Karen. I'm not sure. I might be getting this wrong, but YouTube over 40. She said, "Hey Rob and friends, sorry she can't see who else is watching from Jay's channel. So I presume, yeah. So she's on your channel, Steve, watching this live because we're streaming to
right,
both
okay,
destinations. So she's highlighted a point here that I wasn't really aware of. I'm not sure if everyone in the chat can see all of the comments from both of our channels. So I've put the comments on the actual stage now, so you can see them on the middle there next to Steve.
yeah.
So hopefully that helps a little bit. But I wasn't aware of that limitation with StreamYard, if I'm honest with you. I don't know if that's a setting that you can enable, Steve, but thanks for making us aware of that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not something I was aware of. So I guess it makes sense. But yeah, it seems like you can see the chats now. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got Evelyn asking a question, and Evelyn, thank you for joining. I know that I think you're a new subscriber of mine, so welcome. And she's got a question for us, Steve. Do we believe that posting regularly on our community posts help with building a community or something? Yeah, I think there's a good point there. I like to post regularly on my community posts. It definitely does help build a community because at the end of the day, you're interacting with the audience, Evelyn. And as long as you're giving them something of value, I tend to post things that they're going to find useful. So if it's like a small snippet of information, perhaps, or maybe I did a video with 10 talking points, I'll take a couple of those, one of those points, and I'll post that as a separate post, as a reminder or as an encouragement to people. Or I'll share a personal a milestone with the channel sometimes because it's nice to celebrate in public and people like to see small channels do well. But it definitely helps build a community. So I'd highly recommend you do it. And another thing, if you're going away for the weekend, or perhaps you're too busy to make a video, you can schedule your community posts. So you're at least feeding your channel something while you're not active. And that's also quite important because it reminds people that you're there. It reminds YouTube that you're still active on your channel. So there are lots of reasons to do that. And you can also ask questions. So I've done it in the past. I know that other people in the chat have done it. You can post a poll asking, giving people an option of which answer they're going to select. You can post thumbnails and ask people's opinion on them thumbnails. You can ask people's opinion on your next video title or the subject. If you've got a few subjects you want to talk about, but you're not quite sure, well, there's no one better to ask than the audience themselves. So you can use that feature, and it's very powerful for all of those reasons. So yes is the answer, but I went a very long way around it. But hopefully that's given you some more reason and incentive to use it. Are you a fan of the community post, Steve?
I don't use it as much as I should. I think that's something I need to kind of start factoring in. And I think, as you say, the scheduling community posts is quite a good thing. I think you made a good point though. So you covered a couple of things. I've used it in the past for. In fact, I used it this week. I think for kind of gauging people's opinions on things like thumbnails or what video should I make next and that type of thing.
It's
But I
powerful, that
think,
is.
yeah, I think that you made a good point there was um, continuing giving value. So not just getting people's opinions on how you can improve, but or what you do next and things like that, but actually continuing to give people little snippets of value because that's what our
Yeah,
videos are all about.
yeah. I
Is
think
giving value. And
Evelyn
if you're
does
just
home
yeah,
design. I had a look at her channel yesterday, and she's got some amazing content on there,
yeah,
making interiors look, like really professional. And I'm sure there are lots of people who subscribe to you, Evelyn, who would really appreciate the odd tip here and there, or just a quick glimpse of what's coming up next. So yeah, definitely use it. And like Catherine said, they're a good way to share your personal life as much or as little as you want to, because that also helps the audience get to know you. Because if you're anything like me and Catherine and Rob and Steve and a lot of people here, we're building a personal brand as well. We are the face of our YouTube channel. It's not a faceless channel. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but people getting to know you is a really powerful thing, and it also adds to that community element. So hopefully that's answered your question. I'm just going to scroll back up. I'm aware that the questions are coming in thick and fast, which I'm ever so grateful for, but I'm a little bit behind, so you'll have to bear with me. And welcome everyone who's joined us recently. It's good to have you here. Thank you very much, Naz. I appreciate that. I have to admit, it's a milestone. It feels pretty good. I never thought that. I thought it was going to take a lot longer than it did, and it just goes to show that you never know when a video is going to do well. So that's all it can take, people. I was plugging away, gaining a couple of subscribers every other day, and then suddenly one of my videos did really well out of the blue, and there we go. I'm at 500 subscribers. So incredibly happy and grateful to everyone here who's helped made that happen. Ricky's asked a question for us, Steve. Do you want to go for this one? So what's a cool new project that you were working on that could be coming out in the near future?
Well, I'm at the moment in the early stages of working on kind of mini courses. So I've started to kind of build up. I'm starting to kind of build up. I need to plug it more. Actually, is my mailing list, and just kind of trying to kind of lay the kind of early foundations of kind of trying to build that kind of personal brand and business. I think that's something that I learned through, in particular, probably Ty Myers, actually, who didn't hang around to kind of wait for, because I think a lot of people think, to kind of make a business out of YouTube, you really have to have, tens or hundreds of thousands of subscribers or more. But I've started to kind of, lay the foundations, and I'm going to start recording a series of videos for a mini course. So that's what I'm working on just now.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's exciting. Definitely as progress towards your goals, and that's what's the most important thing. I know Ricky is considering making a second channel, because obviously he hasn't, he's got too much time in his hands, basically. But obviously I'm joking, but I think he's going to do a channel about one of his passions, which is trail running, which sounds like a great niche, to be honest. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like to see that, especially where you live, Ricky. It's a beautiful area, so good luck with that. For me, cool projects, I'm probably struggling enough as it is with a full-time job and a couple of decent videos a week in addition to this live. So I wouldn't say anything cool. Not that YouTube itself isn't cool, but I've also launched my website, which is live now, and I've started to offer one-to-one coaching for new creators. So I'm aware of the fact that I want to take this in the direction of running a business, like many people do. So I guess you could consider that quite an exciting time for me. So there's that as well. So yeah, thanks for asking that question, Ricky. That was a good one. And I can see everyone's chatting away as usual, which is really great to see. And then we've got Vaughan here. Hi, Vaughan. Nice to see you here. And he's asked, when can we expect a swing tutorial from the home of golf? Well, I think that's a question for you, Steve, because I hate golf. I think it's boring.
Yeah. Well,
He's
yeah.
left. Vaughan's left. He's gone already.
That's it. I think for golf, you don't want to be watching me. I'm more of a spectator than a player now. I used to play a lot of golf, and the hat was just because I was in St Andrews earlier in the year and just fancied the hat. So yeah, I do think when people see that, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but in my thumbnails, if I've got my hat on, I actually like use Canva to take the writing off, because I think people are just going to think this is a golf channel.
Yeah, we're moving on because we don't want people to think this is a golf channel. But no, I appreciate the question. It's always good to have a bit of a laugh, and please don't take any offence to the fact that I don't like golf. I don't like a lot of things, but it doesn't mean they're not a valid hobby to pursue. So we've got a question here from Chronic Pain into Power. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but welcome to the channel, and she's got a question for us. So how are you able to show comments and questions with a photo? So far, every question has helped. Thank you. I'm not sure I know what you mean. I'm sorry.
I don't know if it means just like the questions as are displayed up on the screen now.
Ah, okay, 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 I
That's
understand.
exactly what that means.
So, yeah, sorry, that's me being a little bit obtuse. So I'm using a streaming software called StreamYard, and it's something that I pay for. It's I think it's about $40 a month. So that basically it's a web-based software that we stream from into YouTube, and it has a feature where I can take whatever comment I want and post it onto what's called the stage, so that all of you guys watching can see it. Basically, so that's how I do it. It's um it's a very simple and easy to use piece of software. There is a running cost obviously involved, but like I said earlier, I like to keep things simple for now. I am thinking about going over to Ecamm, and I know that that's something that Rob uses. So if you've got a good resource for that, Rob, let me know, because it would be great to see. Maybe you've even done a video on how to set it up, and if that's the case, please let me know and I'll watch that one. Because I would like to be able to stream myself. I did try to set up OBS before with Naz, and it was a bit of a pain, shall we say, to have guests on. So I just really wanted to increase the guests' experience as well. And it's really easy. It was easy for you to join tonight, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, yeah, very easy. I think I'm almost frightened to use OBS, but it seems to be the streaming service that works for me in my little studio. But yeah, it's StreamYard. I did start off with StreamYard. It's just my personal circumstance that makes it a little bit cumbersome, but it's really easy to use for anyone that doesn't have dodgy internet.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I think your internet's fine where it is now. Oh, Karen's confirmed that her name is Karen, so thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. And she's also said that having the comments on the stage is really helpful. So that's great to hear. And then Evelyn, there you go. Tracy loves my community posts, so I'm sure there are people that are going to love yours too. So that's something you should definitely start doing, I think.
Yep.
I did have another question I wanted to ask you, Steve, that I took out of one of my comments earlier in the week. But for now, I'm going to go to Chappie's question. We know that all you need is a phone and a mic to get started. Now, at 500 and 200 subs, what equipment are you two using? Oh, is the wife listening? That's the question. So I don't know about you, Steve. You've got a few mics and cameras and stuff, haven't you? You like to.
Yeah. So well, I can start with that one. So I was lucky in the sense that I had a camera before starting YouTube. So when I'm filming in my little studio, I have that camera just there permanently. Otherwise, if I was starting the channel without that, I wouldn't have that, and I wouldn't have gone out and bought it. But yeah, I use my phone for whenever I'm outside. But yeah, microphone wise, this is just underneath this is the Rode wireless mic, which again I use for outside. I was using that up in the studio as well, but I've got the mic that you see Jay using, the Shure. I forget the actual model number of it. And then other than that, it's just a good light. I'm not well lit in here just now, but ordinarily, but in fact, Jay, your most recent video talks about key lights, and you don't have to spend a fortune on them
No, no, no. I
to
mean,
get a
this
good
one
effect.
here is not the best in the world. Let me show you. It's you can see behind the scenes now. This is also my dressing room slash office. But that key light there, that cost me £40, which is maybe
Yeah,
$50. It's not the best, but I think you'll agree it does a fine job.
yeah, it does a good job. Yeah, yeah. You don't have
And
to
you don't
spend a
need to
fortune.
spend a fortune, basically. Now, having said that, I mean, the microphone is fairly expensive, but I wanted something that would last me a long time. But a USB microphone and your smartphone, and then probably something to hold it with, like a selfie stick or a tripod. That's
Yeah,
probably all you need. I've gone a little bit into it. I've gone off the deep end a little bit. I've bought myself a Sony camera, a different lens. I've got this microphone. I had a PC which I play games on, or I used to when I had time. I bought myself a MacBook. But here's the thing: because I've started this, and the ultimate goal is to have a business from it, which a lot of people have that goal, and it's perfectly fine. I have registered myself in the UK as a business, and all of these things that I've bought are on a spreadsheet with invoices. And this is something that not a lot of people talk about, which I don't know why, because it's really important. But if you are running a business, even if you're just monetized on YouTube, I think that counts. That can count as a business. You know, it's you're putting time in for money, and you should be. I think you should be declaring that as income tax. I'm not a tax advisor, but the point I'm making is all of these things that I've spent money on will be expenses, and if I make a loss in the first year, as lots of businesses do, that will be coming off my tax for the year. So I've justified it in that way, basically. So I hope that answers your question. A cheap light from Amazon, which is in the link to my videos, and this live stream. Actually, it's not an affiliate link for the US, so I'm not trying to make money there. A USB microphone and your smartphone. That's probably it. And that tripod you can see there standing up, that cost me about £20 off Amazon. It's not the best, but it does the job. I've made dozens of videos with it, so you don't need to spend a lot of money ultimately. Hope that's answered the question. Anything to add to that, Steve?
No, just to echo what you said there. Don't spend a fortune. You know, there's things that are named brands that you'll pay 10 times the price for. You can get, I think, a tripod. It comes in handy for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
But I mean, the one I'm using here that I've got my webcam on just now, it was about £20, and it's great because it doubles up as a selfie stick as well. It's got a little remote shooter for for Bluetooth for starting the recordings, which is quite handy.
Yeah.
Little things like that are quite useful, and all for £20. So yeah, I don't think it's worth spending huge amounts of money on things.
No, and before I knew that I was going to take it seriously, I bought this tripod, and like I say, it was about £20. But the thing I did with this was, if you just collapse it, and I had my phone on there originally. I've got this little action cam now, but basically, I used to walk around my area with this as a selfie stick, and then it doubles up. So if you're walking around, you're doing a walk and talk with your phone, you can aim that towards yourself. It's not heavy, and then I mean, if it's £20, and if you need to, you can then open it up, put it on your desk. You can open the legs out, as you've seen, and it's very versatile. So I'd highly recommend, like Steve says, to get yourself one of them if you don't already. It's going to beat holding your phone or your camera or propping it up, and it can double up as a selfie stick. It's incredibly useful. It's one of the best investments I've ever made, and it was incredibly cheap. So I hope that's answered your question, Chappie.
Yep.
But don't go mad at the beginning like I did. I'm just going through the questions here. Looks like everyone's having a good laugh, and please do chat amongst yourselves. I know a lot of people have made good connections on my live streams. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to network, and oftentimes you'll find other channels that are interesting to you, and that's only a good thing, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm just trying to catch up there. Okay. Chappie said he'd tell us what he has, but it'll raise questions about the production value that he's been putting out. So I guess that means that he's got quite expensive equipment, which is not a bad thing. I won't ask any more, Chappie, as you say. I'm just going to go back to the questions that I took from the comments earlier in the week, because we haven't got any in the chat at the moment. So here's a good one that I took. Somebody asked me if they need to upload 3 times a week, and if that's true. I'm going to basically say no, it's not true at all, and I'll stand by that until the day I die. There are channels out there with millions of subscribers. Better Ideas is one of them. He posts maybe once a month, once every 2 months, but that video has obviously had a lot of time put into it, and it does incredibly well. There are channels that are a lot smaller that post once a week, once a fortnight, but they put effort into that video, they research it well, and it does incredibly well at growing their channel. You don't need to post 3 times a week. In fact, if the quality of your video suffers by posting 3 times a week, then you are going to be hurting your channel potentially, as opposed to making one high quality video a week. In addition to adding extra stress into your life, increasing the risk of burnout, which is, I hear, the #1 cause of people quitting YouTube. So the answer is no. You don't need to post 3 times a week unless it's sustainable for you and it's something that you enjoy doing. Some people might have a very easy production process, and if that's the case, I envy them. And if that's the case, then 3 videos a week might work. But for most people, I think it's probably too much, especially if you're juggling a 9 to 5 like I am. So I hope that answers the question if the person's watching. But if not, I hope it's useful to anyone else. What about you, Steve? I mean, you were doing 3 videos a week at one point, weren't you? How did
I
that
was.
feel?
Yeah, it's hard to try and it's not sustainable. I mean, that's probably what I learned fairly quickly with that, and the quality I think suffers. You know, if it feels rushed putting it out, then it's probably going to look rushed when someone watches it back. That's my biggest takeaway from trying to do 3 videos a week. And you know, it's the other things in your life that you're neglecting to kind of accommodate that, because everything you have to make sacrifices. So I think, and I'm still trying to do 2 and then a live. I've been doing kind of fortnightly lives, plan to do them every week, but I kind of almost don't count them. There's obviously still some effort goes into them, and you're still sitting there for, you know, a couple of hours, so it still takes time, but I feel like they're slightly different. But
Yeah, but
I'll
a
see how
live
I
is
get on
still a
with that, and I
valid
might
way
even go
of.
down to 1.
Sorry, Steve. Sorry, I interrupted you. I thought you'd finished.
No, I was just going to say, I've moved down to 2, and you know, if I still feel like that's a hard ask, I maybe go down to 1 a week, because I think we talked a second ago, quality over quantity,
Yeah.
I think wins the day. Sometimes you feel that there's a pressure in order to grow faster that you have to get more videos out there and just keep churning them out. But if the video is ultimately better and you're just doing that one, more people are going to buy into it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, quality is a subjective term. You don't need to have an extremely flashy edited video. You don't need loads of graphics and flying text everywhere. Like, I know that I'm quite a fan of that sort of thing, but you don't need that for your video to be considered quality. You just need to be giving, again, value to the viewer. You need to be making videos that people want to watch. You need to be giving them education, entertainment, or you need to be inspiring them in some way. And you don't need to have a complex editing or production process to do that. But most people won't be able to keep up, I don't think, with 3 videos a week. And like you said, Steve, doing a live and 1 video, far more sustainable. The live has the benefits of, you know, helping the community grow, interacting with people personally, and it helps massively towards watch hours as well. And I'll just say this, when it comes to making less videos but spending more time on them, I started to take this approach a couple of weeks ago. I stopped making. I used to make a video from start to finish in a day, and I'd go to bed exhausted with a migraine, and I wouldn't see my wife all day. Now I will break that up into a day, a couple of hours of research, then the next day, a couple of hours of writing, then editing, production, etc., etc. Ultimately leading to 1 video a week, which I consider to be of higher quality. Since I've done that, my subscribers have gone from 200 to now over 5. Is that because of 1 viral video? Well, not viral, but 1 successful video? Yes. Would that video have been so successful if I didn't take the time to plan it? No, it wouldn't have. So I firmly believe in quality over quantity. So I'll rest it there. We've got a couple more questions in the audience, which is great to see. And Brian's here. Welcome, Brian. I don't think I've said hello to you yet, so thanks for coming tonight. And Brian's asked us, how often, if at all, do you have an idea that comes into your mind and you have to get that out now? I keep a running notepad on my phone. That's what I do. So if I do get an idea, and oftentimes it will come in the most awkward place. So I'll be on the toilet or in the shower and I'll get an idea and I don't have my phone with me. Sorry if that's too much information, but everyone goes. And I've basically got this notepad here, and that's video ideas. And I will just make a note of the idea. And then when I'm sitting there on a Monday thinking, what's my next video going to be? I'll go back to my long list of good ideas. Half of them aren't actually good ideas, and I'll delete them. And then I'll start looking into those ideas, seeing if there's a need or an appetite for that subject, seeing what other people have made videos about, what they've called that video, how their intro went, what kind of hooks they used. I'll basically use that as the basis of my research and ideation phase. So, I don't have an idea that comes into my mind that I have to get out now generally, but I will always bank those ideas for the future. And that's something I highly recommend because, again, it gives you time to reflect on that idea and work out if it's going to be something that's going to be viable for your channel. So that's how I do it. Maybe you're a little bit more impulsive, Steve, and that's not a bad thing. Sometimes that can be a really good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. So I'm the same. I have like just a pen and paper kind of notepad that I use. This maybe comes with being 7 years older than you. Not using the digital products, but I just have a notepad and pen, and I just when I think about ideas, I just write them down. But yeah, sometimes it is a bit more impulsive. The video I did yesterday was a kind of I'm just gonna because I'd done the video that I put out the day before that, which didn't have a very good start, and I decided that I'll just make a video talking about that because
Yeah.
sometimes I just like to go and sit in the woods and just kind of talk off the cuff, and sometimes those videos do quite well, compared to some other ones that are maybe a little bit more thought out. So it's a mixture for me, but I think you're right. I think sometimes if you have it written down as it comes into your mind, you might look back at it later and go, actually, was that just an idea of a video that I would like and would, or is it something that genuinely people that we'd want to watch? And
Yeah.
sometimes you kind of go through and go, actually, yeah, that was maybe more of a video that I would like, because I still
Yeah.
catch myself out sometimes. I still think, oh, actually, I don't think people really want to see that, and it's sometimes better to pause. But being instinctive and a bit more, um, a bit more kind of just kind of gung ho sometimes might work. It just depends. So yeah, it's a bit of both for me.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a very good point. It comes back to, for me, it comes back to making sure that I will use my time wisely. I don't have a lot of it. I've got a full-time job, I've got family commitments. So do I really want to spend time recording a video, editing that video? If I'm not fairly confident that there's an appetite for that subject, then the answer is no. Having said that, I have done a couple of videos on my channel where I've just sat there and spoken without a script, and they did okay. I enjoyed making them, and there were some points that I really wanted to get off my chest. And so sometimes it can work, but it's not something I do all the time. But it's a great question, Brian. I really appreciate that, and I hope your channel's going well. I remember when you started your channel a few weeks ago now, and you're on your treadmill. And I just thought that you've got a lot of charisma there, and you've got a real good chance of making a go of it. So best of luck to you, and I hope that things are going as well as you hope for. So I'm just going back through the comments here. There's so many, which is great to see. Welcome everyone who I haven't said hello to yet, and everyone who's just joined us. Welcome to the live. If you've got any questions, please do feel free to pop them in. Me and Steve are answering your questions tonight. Please just put three question marks, sorry, three capital Qs before the question so that I can pick it out easily. Yeah, that's it really. And then we've got Nicola here tonight. Hi, Nicola. It's nice to see you.
Oh, I think we've lost Jay, have we? Yeah, I think we have. Okay, I will hold the fort then. In
Yeah,
the
sorry
meantime.
guys. I literally
Oh, he's back. He's
I
back.
pressed back on my mouse.
There we
There's
go.
there's no excuse. It's a schoolboy error. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, you're fine, Jay. Yeah, you're just out for a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I left the studio. Apologies, everyone. I'm sure that Steve would have carried on fine without me though. But I've got another couple of questions that we pulled from the comments of our videos this week. And someone said, it's more of a statement really, followed by a question. And they said they never realized just how much work goes into YouTube. And isn't that the truth? I've heard a lot of people talk about burnout and how can they ensure that burnout doesn't happen to them. That's a real big one, isn't it? Because I don't know about you,
Yeah.
Steve, but burnout is you're almost always on the edge of burnout when it comes to YouTube. I'm sure a lot of people in the comments will agree with me here. It's not an easy thing at all. And anyone who's never started a channel and actually given it a go just won't know how difficult it is. Do you struggle with that, Steve? Do you get burnout, or do you get to the edge of being on with burnout?
Yeah, yeah, I would say I've probably been on the verge of that recently. Even this week, I kind of mentioned a minute ago about the all the kind of late nights planning and sometimes editing late at night and stuff as well, staring at screens, not getting good sleep, um, and yeah, I think that's that. Even now, having kind of tried to kind of rein things in slightly from 3 videos a week, um, the fact that I've done that and still kind of feel at times that I'm up against the cosh all the time and there's never enough hours in the day shows that the 3 hours a week, 3 hours, 3 videos a week wasn't really sustainable. I think a few people that are on here that I've spoken to. So I'm going to call out Catherine because I've spoken to her about this kind of offline from YouTube, and it's kind of come up in other people's lives as well. But just the kind of there's that kind of myth of you can't take a week off. A lot of people think that. I mean, I don't really have strict kind of times now that I publish my videos. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I felt like that took a little bit of the pressure off to get videos out of saying, oh, I have to have a 6 o'clock video on a Thursday. It's more a case of when it's ready, I'll publish it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
powerful. That is
yeah,
powerful. Do you
it's
know
just
what?
trying to kind of put the control back to yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
I just want
I
to add
think
to that, Steve, if
it
that's
is
all right.
hard though. Yeah,
The thing is, with scheduling videos and having our own self-imposed deadlines, YouTube doesn't care if you don't meet them, and for the most part, the audience doesn't care either, do they, Steve? If
no,
you're late a day late, no one's gonna complain.
no, and Catherine mentioned that because she recently took a week off. I think she'd had a bit of a virus and was taking time to recover from that. And she said that during that week of, I think she was watching other people's videos, but she wasn't putting anything out herself. But in that week off that she had, she was still getting comments on her videos. She was still seeing her subscribers increase. So it's not like you walk away for a week and come back and everyone's abandoned your channel. If anything, she was continuing to see growth. I think obviously a sustained period of doing nothing on your channel could be damaging, but if you do feel like you need to take a break, taking a week off isn't going to be curtains for your YouTube channel.
No,
You can do that occasionally.
definitely.
Just walk away from it and focus on other things.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great thing to remember. And people are entitled to have a holiday or a vacation. And like Tracy said, and I noticed that Karen's posed a question, which I'll get to in a minute. Karen, sorry I missed that one. But Tracy said that she's tied up at the moment, and she's not made a long form content. She's not made a long content video in almost 2 weeks. But what she is doing instead is doing shorts on a regular basis, and I know this because I'm watching them, and also a couple of lives each week, which you know is something that you can do if you are busy. For say, for example, I mean, I'm going away in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks. If I don't manage to get a video scheduled, then I'll probably do a live while I'm away. I'll probably schedule a couple of posts to keep the interaction going. Um, and even a couple of shorts. I mean, Tracy's short. She's doing like a bit of a walking challenge for herself, and just posting those shorts every day, is I've noticed some really good interaction and feedback on those shorts. I looked at one today and it had, you know, several dozen likes, which is, you know, amazing considering it's just her going on a walk anyway. So it's all going to help for the watch hours. It's going to help for the engagement. So there are lots of different things you can do. So, and how do we ensure that the burnout doesn't creep in? I think it's just like Steve said. It's just removing any self-imposed targets that you're trying to reach, and realizing that your channel or YouTube doesn't care if you don't post for a couple of days. That your channel would be far better off that you didn't post just for the sake of it, but you came back refreshed and rested and ready to go. So I hope that's helped anyone that might have also had that question. We've got a question here from Mohit as well. I'm just going to post that up. So as we have discussed, I have a unique niche, fitness mindsets. How do I stay confident in my vision when there isn't really a blueprint of other channels to follow? That's, I think with your channel, Mohit, it's whilst fitness mindset itself might not be a defined niche, there are always going to be fitness channels that discuss topics which you can have your own opinion on, if that makes sense. I know I watch quite a lot of fitness channels, or I have done over the years, and they don't all just show how to get big biceps. A lot of them will talk about the mindset that you need, the consistency, diet, you know, different techniques. You know, there's a lot of content out there, so it's just about finding what's popular and then putting your own spin on it. So I think you should perhaps look at that, because whilst you are fairly unique in your fitness mindset approach, you're not unique in the sense that it's still a fitness channel, and there are a lot of people that have paved the way before you to give you those ideas. Is there anything you'd add to that, Steve? I think that that's going to work for him.
No, I think you answered the question pretty well. I think, you know, you might be framing your channel in that way that other people don't frame it specifically about the kind of mindset side of it. But, you know, when it comes to fitness and being disciplined with your fitness, a lot of it is a mindset thing. So there probably are, as Jay says, people out there that are talking about that as well. If you find these people and search through their videos, um, but I think the fact that you do frame yourself with the mindset side of it is maybe what gives you a little bit of an edge. So if you can scout out the other videos that these other creators are doing that does lean onto the mindset stuff, and as Jay says, put your own spin on it, and understand what the specifics that they're talking about there is doing well in terms of views and stuff like that, then that's somewhere that you can lean.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. I'm just trying to scroll back up and find Karen's comment, her question. I think it's a little way up there.
Oh, I've got
I'm
one from
determined to
Karen.
find it, so bear with me, everyone.
So there was, I can see one. Can I put them on the screen? No, I think it's just you that can do that.
That's okay. We'll
There's
just have an
there's
awkward
one about
silence.
10 past 10.
There you
I
go.
don't know if she's had another one since then or before that.
That's the question there. I found it. So I didn't want to leave you completely neglected, Karen. But I'd kind of let it get buried there in the comments, which is only a good thing because it means people are actually engaging, which I'm really grateful for. But this is a question for you, Steve. So I'll leave you to read it out and answer it.
Yeah. So yeah, Karen's saying, Steve, I've noticed you make videos reflecting on how your videos are doing performance-wise. Do those videos get good engagement? Um, yeah, sometimes I think it's like all my videos. I think there's some videos do better than others because of what I'm talking about. But as I mentioned before, I was probably rushing some videos when I was doing more in a week, and that could explain why some don't do so well. I think I think the engagement side of it's good. I think a lot of what I try and talk about is the kind of struggles, that we have as a creator. So yeah, talking about what makes better videos and how to do things is obviously part of the niche that Jay and I are in. Um, But I think especially for smaller channels, it's good to talk about the kind of the struggles, and that's like, we've done a lot of that in this live today as well. Is what are the, because it's, as much as it's fun and we enjoy doing it, there are still psychological stuff, imposter syndrome and things like that. So I like to really talk. I don't like to sugarcoat stuff on my channel. I like to kind of say it as I see it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just feel the need to kind of talk about, like what I did yesterday was, okay, well, that previous video didn't do well, so why is that, and what am I going to do about it? And because lots of people are making videos that are having those same thoughts and those same struggles. So I think they do get quite good engagement typically, because I think everyone's been there or is there now. So I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah, the pivot video I did a few months back, where I just really wasn't seeing the kind of movement that I was hoping for. And I think on reflection, it was just because I was still just too early. But that video did well, and there was nothing fancy about it. It was just sat in the woods talking to the camera for probably too long. But people kind of reacted to it quite well.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've never done a video about video performance before. I haven't really thought about doing one. I'm not sure if it would do well or not. I guess I could do one about the video that I done recently that did well, because people like to see videos that do well. But prior to that, my videos were fairly, average, a couple of hundred views. I don't really think there was much to talk about, but certainly if you've got outlier videos or interesting metrics or analytics, then they could definitely gain some traction, or at least pique some interest there. On the subject of burnout, Nicola's got some great advice, and she's doing extremely well with her channel. So we should all listen to it, really. But to stay away from burnout, she paces herself. She posts when she wants to, so she's in control, basically. She always has additional videos stored when needed. Well, that's a great position to be in. I guess you had to work really hard to get there in the first place, but that's fantastic. And then she thinks like a sprinter: short burst, stop, rest, or that. Do you know, that mindset there is exactly what I'm going for now, if I'm honest with you. It'll be an hour of research, followed by a break. If not, the next day I'll come back to plan my intro. The next day I'll write my script. Sometimes, like the most recent one, it took me 2 days to finish my script, and I haven't even hit record yet. It's about doing it in short bursts and not getting to the point where you're tired and you've got a headache, because you're never going to succeed on YouTube long term if you end up being tired and resenting the whole process. So it's about being sustainable, and Nicola's obviously got that system down incredibly well. So thank you for sharing that. That's really helpful to everyone here. Yeah, and just sticking to burnout, because it is so important for people to make sure that they manage their production effectively to avoid burning out. Mohit here has he's got advice for burnout. It's just doing videos you're really excited to do, and that helps, because there's nothing worse. Well, I've not done it yet, but I can't imagine there's anything worse than making a video for the sake of making a video because you think it might do well, if it's not something that you're actually interested in talking about. What do you think, Steve? Is that something that you've done? Because I have. I made a video thinking, oh, this is a viral format. This is going to do well, and then it didn't, and it's almost worse because you've done something you didn't even want to do in the first place, and it still didn't do well.
Yeah, I've got as far as sitting down and speaking to the camera, and then just halfway through thinking, no, this isn't going to be. My heart's not in this, and that'll come across. I was boring myself, kind of talking to the camera, and just whether it was just that the topic wasn't strong enough, or I just was tired and maybe on the verge of a little bit of burnout, maybe, and it just as I say, my heart wasn't in it, and thought, well, just walk away from it then. I don't want to see that through, and then I think it would be worse than going, right, okay, well, I've committed myself now so I'm now going to have to edit this video that I'm not happy about. And I mean, okay, maybe there's a missed opportunity. Maybe that video would do well, but yeah, there's times I think if you're really excited about the topic of a video, obviously you feel motivated and inspired to make it. Making videos for the sake of it, or if you're not in the right frame of mind to make videos, as I say, I've been there and I've just walked away from it, and that's just a waste of time. I could have been doing something else.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does help if you're interested in the topic. I mean, I'm going to show some stats here for a video that I did, not to gloat about it. It's more of to give people the inspiration that at any time a video can do well, but also hope that somebody with not a lot of subscribers can have a video do well. So I'm just going to get that up on the screen in a moment. So this video I recorded a couple of weeks ago, and I've already mentioned it at the beginning, but a lot of people are new to my channel, and a lot of people came to my channel from this video, and also there are a few people in the live stream now who weren't here at the beginning. So I'm going to share this video I did a couple of weeks ago, and it did 80 views in the first couple of days, and then it flatlined. And I thought to myself that the video was more or less done. And I just moved on, carried on making content. But I really enjoyed making this video, and it wasn't something that I would usually do. I'm kind of acting a bit of a fool. You can see the screen, Steve, yeah? 1 second.
Hey, no.
There we go.
Oh yeah, it's coming
Apologies.
up. It's coming up.
So yeah, so I was kind of acting a fool a little bit. It was a serious message, but at the same time, it was something that I really enjoyed making. And I think the point is that effort that I put into the video and the fact that I really enjoyed making it has obviously paid off, because a lot of the videos that I've done previously, while I did enjoy making them and I had a message to share, they didn't do anywhere near as well. So that could be a good example for people to follow, to the point that we were making. But also, this is what I wanted to share. This is at day 16. Okay, so that's fairly good number of impressions there. But if we look back to the first week, after 7 days, I got 2,500 impressions, which is a reasonable amount. For me, I think that was about average. And at that point, I'd kind of considered this video to be done. I mean, after 2 days, I thought that, oh, it's gradually creeping up, but it wasn't going to do anything. But then all of a sudden, at 12 days, it started to grow. And now we are here, 19 days in, with nearly 80,000 impressions and nearly 7,000 views. Now, it's the first time this has happened to me, and people have told me that this is possible. And I never really believed it would be possible for me. And I just want to share that so that everyone on this live stream now who might be struggling or sitting there hoping for a successful video, you just never know when it's going to happen. And I certainly didn't know this was going to happen. And it happened over 2 weeks after I posted the video. So hopefully that serves as a little bit of inspiration there for people. Because I know that everyone who uploads a video, ultimately, we all hope for that to happen, right? We all hope to have a video that does relatively well. But the fact is, you just never know which one it's going to be.
That's it.
So,
Yeah, I think anyone watching that hasn't had that moment, and I include myself there as well, because I've not had a huge outlier like that. Take the inspiration from it, because Jay, I'm sure you'll agree that, like most of the people that are on this live, you've had ups and downs, days and good days and bad days, days where you think that the channel's going well, days where you think it's not doing as well. And you've had that video now, which has really given your channel a huge lift. And I think we're all the same. We're all our own biggest critic. So we'll all look at other people having that outlier video and thinking, well, I just can't see that happening for me. At some point, along the way, you might feel that way, but it can happen, and there's a good chance it will happen. It wouldn't have happened for
Absolutely.
you, Jay, if you hadn't just kept making videos.
Exactly.
You know,
And here's the
if you
thing.
just keep making them, the one is going to take off. I feel super inspired by what you had up on the screen there as well.
Well, here's the thing, right? Up until that point, all of my videos have done maybe, look, 176 views. You know, that one there, that's a live, that's unlisted. But there's a video here that's had 89 views. You know, there's one 119 views. The fact is that after making these videos, 83, 85, I mean, 31 views. At any point in that journey, I could have, after all of these videos, I could have sat there and gone, do you know what? I'm sick of putting all of this time into making videos and getting 81 views. Now,
Yeah,
granted, a lot of people might feel that 81 views is a lot, and I don't want to sound ungrateful because I'm not. But after a certain period of time, you start to question how long it's going to take. And I don't ever suggest or expect that my next video is going to do anywhere near as well as this one has with 6,000 views. But it's just to give people that hope that it can happen. And like you said, Steve, how many times did I sit there thinking, is it going to happen? Is it even worth it? How long is it going to take me to get to 1,000 subscribers? Not that I'm there yet, but I think it's just an encouraging message for anyone because I'm still very much a new and learning creator. Just to keep going, keep improving, and make the best videos that you can because you will get there eventually. And I'm not there, but you will get a video like that. And to your point, Steve, you know, you had a video recently that you posted about not doing so well. I think it's important to realize that that video isn't wasted, and it's the same for any video that we do that doesn't do very well. You know, that's
yeah,
a learning
yeah,
opportunity. That's it's data. It's, you know,
yeah. There's something
if
to be
you,
learned
it's how
from
you
any
look at
video
it,
you put
right?
out there. Yeah, and I was that video I posted on Wednesday, which I just immediately made up my mind that it's not going to do well, and did what we've just said earlier that you shouldn't do, which is wrote it off almost immediately. And my reaction was to go and make a video about that video. So, but I even said in the video yesterday, I might have egg on my face later because who knows, that video might actually take off at some point. Um, so yeah, I think you should never write stuff off. Um, but that's exactly what I did when I made that video yesterday. So, um, but it was more just a reaction, and it's kind of to the point that was made earlier on. Sometimes I just feel compelled to talk about it.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I think it
Cool, mate.
is. There's a lot of people who haven't had that kind of outlier yet. Um, are all kind of wondering when that might be for them, and continuing publishing every week and trying to improve. And I think that's something, Jay, that you can just tell watching your videos that you are striving for that improvement all the time. um, and obviously the better you can make a video, the better chance you're giving that video of taking off.
Yeah,
um, and you've said about the fact that you are just kind of working on that kind of one video a week now, and you can see the quality. And I know we've talked about this earlier, that um, and I said with my 3 videos a week that they were really, the quality was, or the lack of quality was kind of showing. Your approach, I think, is a good reminder to people that don't feel pressured into just churning out content. You can easily do one video a week, or not easily do it, but you can use that approach of just one video a week, and you can still get the growth. You can still see the momentum.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, my last videos, now that I'd say I'm spending at least 4 or 5 hours researching and scripting, or at least planning. Those videos are doing 3 times as well as the videos that I'd do from start to finish in one day. So yes, the output is
Yeah.
less, but the results are in some cases double or triple. So it goes to show, doesn't it? Quality will always beat quantity.
Yeah. Especially when you think of the competition that's out there on YouTube, the amount of videos that are going out every day. If
Yeah,
you want to
absolutely.
stand out amongst that, then you should always be striving to make the videos better quality. And that's, as we've talked about with gear and stuff, that doesn't mean you have to have the best lights and the best cameras and the best microphones necessarily. It's just, you know, sticking to the kind of fundamentals of what makes a good video in terms of the actual content itself. So anybody can make good quality videos with just a phone and a cheap microphone, as long as they're thinking about what they're putting into the videos.
Yeah, it's the value that you're giving to the viewer and making videos that people want to watch. And I will stand on that box until the day I die. You have to not make videos that you want to make. You have to make sure that you're providing value to that audience. And if you do that, your channel will grow. And I think everyone who's ever had success on YouTube will tell you the same thing. It's as simple as that. We've got a few new people in the chat now, which I just want to say hello to. So we've got someone here called Betty's Rural Diaries. Welcome, Betty. I don't think I've met you before. If you're new to my channel, then welcome, unless it's one of Steve's subscribers. And then we've got David from Exotic Pulse. So hi, David. Welcome, and so good to see you. We have been taking questions all evening, as well as answering some of the questions that we had taken from comments. So if you do have any questions for us, we've both started a YouTube channel this year. We're both at various different stages, although both under 1,000 subscribers. We've had almost every challenge that you could ever experience on YouTube. We've been through it all. We're very much still new creators. We know exactly what it's like to struggle. And we've got a lot of things that we can share with people to hopefully help them if they're just starting out, or if indeed they've been going for a little while and might be stuck. So feel free to answer questions, and please put 3 Qs in front of them so that I can easily pick them out, because I'm quite bad at keeping up with them all. We've got another question here, Steve, that I had from one of my videos. We might have covered this previously about an hour ago, but I think it's worth answering again. It's a slightly different way of framing it. So I'm just going to post it up on the screen here. And somebody asked me, how do I know which videos to make? And because they're worried that their videos won't do very well. So we have covered it a little bit, but this is where the planning stage comes in, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we talked, I think it was Brian that mentioned earlier on about, do you ever just feel like making videos almost on an impulse, because an idea comes into your head? And as I say, sometimes I do that occasionally. But yeah, I think, kind of the fundamentals are always about, who is the person that you are trying to make videos for, and what do they want to see. It always comes back to that. And
Yeah,
usually
absolutely.
usually that person is looking to learn something, or they want the answer to a question, or be taught how to do something, especially in our kind of niche. Obviously, other than that, it could just be being informed about stuff, or entertained in some way. But obviously, the type of videos you're looking to make. So it's really about, okay, well, who are the people that are going to watch that type of video, and what are the specifics they're looking to get? And that's why we talked earlier on about writing these ideas down as they come to us. And sometimes they'll sound, if you go to the extent of writing them down, obviously at the time they seem like a good idea, but then on reflection, sometimes they're not, because I still sometimes fall into that trap, not to the extent of making videos, but in terms of the idea phase of going, oh, that's maybe just a video that I think would be cool to make, but I've got to remind myself that the videos aren't for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's, and in terms of how to know which videos to make, what are other people in your niche making videos about? going to their channels, clicking on videos and sorting by popular videos, what videos have they made? Or what are they talking about that is being received well? What's getting lots of views and lots of engagement? And can you make a video that's, you know, similar to that, but is your unique take on it?
Yeah, I think so. I think when it comes down to, you have to think, what are your viewers searching for? What are they looking for? And it comes back to making videos to solve a problem for one particular person. Like Ty Meyer said, if you solve one problem for one person, then that is your video right there. You know, people are going to want to be educated, entertained, or inspired for the most part. So if you keep that in mind when you make a video, it's far more likely to do well. But also, it's how you package that video, because if you could have a video that's the best video in the world, but if the title isn't very interesting, people aren't going to click on it. I mean, I've got an example written down here. I mean, if you say, for example, you had a channel where you did fitness, for the most part, people, bear in mind, people aren't really looking. They don't care about you for the most part to start with, because they don't know who you are. They're not searching for you. They're searching for a solution to a problem. So if you had a video, which one would you click on? Let's do a test. Would you click on a video that said my home workout routine, or would you click on a video how to lose weight without a gym? Both of
Yeah,
those videos could be the same thing, right? But one of them
so,
is very intriguing and almost answers a pain point for the viewer. Whereas if you're just talking about my home workout routine and that's somebody you don't know, you're not going to click on that video. So there's certain techniques that you can use to make your video more interesting. More people will click on it, and in turn, your video is going to do better. I hope you're with me on that
yeah.
one. It's a little
And
bit.
I think that's a really valid point, because it's frustrating to think that you've made a video that would be well received had people watched it, but they didn't, because the title and the thumbnail didn't A, kind of make it clear what the video was about, and B, didn't make it seem interesting enough. And then also, you know, to sort of drive that kind of curiosity to make them feel compelled to click on the video. Um, that's why people always say, coming up with the ideas for the titles and your thumbnails is almost as long a process as actually recording and editing the video in some ways, because it's that important. What's if you've put all the effort into making a great video, but you're not packaging it correctly, or in a way it's going to compel people to click on it. It's just almost feels like a waste, because you're not enough people are going to get exposed to that great content, because you've not pointed, they're not pushed them enough to kind of click on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I had loads of examples written down. I was doing a little exercise earlier with titles. It sounds a little bit sad, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do to learn the process of getting people to click on your videos. And I was thinking about all different niches, not just my own. And one of them was, say, a video how to make a lasagna. It's a very cut and dry topic, right? Nicola can probably relate. She does that sort of thing all the time, I imagine. But if you had a video called "How to Make a Lasagna," yes, it solves a problem. But I think you'll agree that if you titled that same video "How to Make the Best Lasagna in 45 Minutes," that video's got a far greater
Yeah,
chance of doing well. And it's that sort of
yeah.
thing that I've been practicing and researching, and it's working for my videos. The click-through rate's increasing. What do you think about that one, Nicola? Is that sort of thing that you've been leaning into? I know that a lot of people have been using that. It's like another one I had written down: how to make money online. It's very bland. Or 5 simple side hustles that anyone can learn. I mean, again, it could be the same topic, but one of them sparks intrigue, it drives curiosity, and it's that sort of thing that we need to be looking at to get people to click on your video ultimately, and that will help the video do well. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, but this isn't a title lesson, but you know,
It's worth spending the time talking about, though, because I think a lot of people starting out their channels kind of don't appreciate just how important titles and thumbnails are.
It's
Um,
massively important.
it's the biggest learning curve because it's essentially marketing. So
Yeah.
unless you come from a marketing background, then you know, if you do, then great, and that's probably why I have seen a lot of people on YouTube that have come from a marketing background and they've made good early traction in their channels because they know how to sell stuff essentially.
Yeah, and
Um,
Nicola said she's used that sort of format on her videos, and it's done a lot better than a simple "how to do this," by
yeah,
making that title have more curiosity behind it. And she said it's
yeah,
like 10 minutes and really speaking to someone's pain point.
yeah.
It's
How
a
to
lot
is
more
just a bit
successful.
vanilla, It's just it's a bit bland.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's like a recent video I did. I mean, it's basically video creation and production tips, but instead of calling it 5 video making tips, I called it make these changes for better YouTube videos. It's a lot it's a lot more interesting and people are more likely to click on it. And the thing is, it seems like a boring topic, but here's where a lot of people fall down because a lot of people won't be interested in learning this stuff. They're not interested in learning about titles, marketing, the psychology behind what makes people click, learning how to write a good introduction, keeping people engaged. That they are all so important. And when I started to practice these things, my videos started getting 3 times as many views, and it's not a coincidence. It's something that we all need to practice, and it's something that I'm going to be leaning into with my channel and trying to help people the best I can with that because it will improve people's video performances ultimately. And it's very important, regardless of how dry it seems, because everyone wants to get behind a camera, Steve, don't they? Everyone wants to hit record, but no one wants to sit there
sure.
and research and learn the packaging and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah, I think it's particularly important in our niche, um, to kind of learn these things so that we can pass that on to other people that want to grow their channels as well.
Exactly.
Um, and but yeah, there's so much, when you really do start to kind of go down the rabbit holes of we talked before the live started about storytelling. That's something that I'm kind of starting to look at a lot more, um, because you know storytelling is just a great way to engage people. So kind of teeing your video up and kind of getting people absorbed into it, because obviously we want people to. So there's that, and there's the marketing side in terms of the title and thumbnails and how you pitch that video to somebody, and then obviously just growing in confidence in your delivery on camera as well. There's so many different elements to it, and when you first begin recording, I don't for a minute suggest people try and master all that stuff before they start because you never will start.
No,
Um,
it's true.
but as you start to move forward, just taking those different kind of pillars, if you like, and just taking little bits of those and trying to apply them. That's and just let that compound over time. I can't remember whose video it was, and they talked about if you had a 1% improvement over 100 videos,
That was mine.
just think how good that 100th video would be from the first one.
It compounds into
So
thousands of
it's
percent per year as an
yeah,
increase in your I actually quoted that in one of my videos. It might not be my video you watched, but it's an interesting metric, for sure. The thing is, Steve, there are a lot of people who make videos like, "Add this hashtag to go viral." Makes me sick. There's a lot of people out there that will put a video out there saying, 5 things that you must do after every upload to imply that if you do these 5 simple things that your video is gonna do really well, or if you add a hashtag to your video, it's gonna do really well. The problem is that a lot of people cling on to hope that there's a simple solution to making their YouTube channels succeed or making their videos go viral. We know that's nonsense. We know it's not true, and that's one of my missions as a creator, to really drive home the realities of what it takes to succeed on YouTube, but also show people how to make that happen from nothing. And I refuse to make videos like that because I know I could probably get thousands of views by making a stupid clickbait video about a hashtag. But it really does, it doesn't confuse me. I'm curious as to why people are so drawn to videos like that when deep down they must know that it's nonsense. Why do you think that is? Because if I was to make a video about how to craft a better title, a lot of people aren't going to be interested in that. In fact, I noticed a lot of people started clicking off this live when we started talking about titles and thumbnails, which is baffling to me because
Yeah,
it's one of the most important parts of growing a YouTube channel. And if your title and thumbnail is off, no one's clicking on your video. So why
yeah,
do you think that is, Steve? I mean, people can answer the question in the chat as well, because I know that everyone here has seen those videos.
yeah. I think people always want the easy way to get from A to B, and
Yeah.
you know, think of the amount of videos on YouTube that are um, telling people how to get rich quick, um, because people will click on those videos because people want the thing, whether that's a lot of money or whether it's a big YouTube channel, but they want to get to it with the path of least resistance. And though, so you know, unfortunately, there are people who have grown pretty big channels off the back of feeding people information that doesn't work, because they know that will be popular, because people will think, okay, this guy's telling me it's easy, so I'm gonna listen to what he says. Um, I don't want to listen to the person that says it's hard work, um, because people don't want to believe that. Um, but yeah, that's exactly it. It's there's and you start to you and I have both researched so many kind of people in the YouTube growth niche, and you start to be able to pick out the ones that feed you the misinformation versus the people who are a lot more honest about it. And I think, unfortunately, in terms of channels in that niche, the ones that are a bit more honest and a bit more truthful, sadly, are the ones that maybe grow a little bit slower. Um, Not
Yeah.
always, because there's people, big channels that are out there that do tell it like it is. I mean, Nick Nimmin's got like 1 million subscribers, and
He's
he
good.
is someone that I would look to for good information. And obviously, you Rob and Kevin Colby and these guys, they all kind of, to me, they tell it quite truthfully, kind of warts and all. And I think that's what we're trying to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll continue to do that. I'm never going to make content that's crap. Sorry for swearing, but it's just it really does wind me up. Nenad here has made a very good point. He's obviously back from the gym, and we're still here. It's the same reason people go to gambling, because they want that quick fix, don't they?
Yeah, that's
And if
it.
I was to search through the YouTube homepage now and search for YouTube growth, 95% of the videos are going to be really unhelpful, and they're just going to set people up for failure and disappointment, in my opinion, because they don't give people the realistic things that they need to do to succeed on the platform. That they give people false hope. We've got a question here by Gamer Bra, and I probably haven't pronounced that right because I'm old, but he's asked, what are some things that make your channel worse? Well, if we were to reverse engineer my biggest thing of making of prioritizing quality over quantity, I would say that posting videos that aren't, rushing videos out is probably one of the worst things you can do, and making videos that you haven't prepared or thought about, that aren't necessarily what your audience wants to see. That for me is going to make your channel subjectively worse. I'm not sure. Worse is such a broad term, but I mean, ultimately, the end goal is to look back on your library of content and be really proud of what you've made. So in my opinion, if you're just pushing out loads of videos that you're not really that happy with, are you going to be happy with that? Is that going to make your channel worse when somebody clicks on it and has a look at all the stuff you've made? Maybe. That's just my opinion. But what do you think, Steve? Is there anything that can make your channel worse?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've already kind of touched on the main things. Not creating for your viewer and creating for yourself. If you want to grow your channel, obviously. I think sometimes we forget with YouTube that it can just be for your own use. But I think anyone watching this is probably looking to grow their channel.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think not thinking things through, rushing videos, trying to go for quantity rather than quality. Just all the things you said. I think that's the main things. Yeah.
Yeah, just not planning your videos. If you're going to make videos, then it's worth spending almost the same amount of time planning your video, seeing what works well, as it is actually making it. Thanks for the question. I'm glad to
Yeah.
see you here. Mahit's asked. He said he thinks the best channels really try to solve a problem and help people in a real way. What do we think? Well, I think I've touched on it several times tonight, but yes is the answer. If your video isn't solving somebody's problem, then it's not necessarily going to do very well. Like I've touched on, the best videos educate, entertain, or inspire, and they solve a problem that somebody has. That's really the gist of it. So the answer to that question is, well, you just had it. Steve, what do you think? I think we've touched it before, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, obviously it's a matter of opinion, but I think that there's a lot of channels out there who just, you know, jumping on a bandwagon of a style of video to try and grow their channel with their own interest at heart. And we've spoken offline, Jay, about this. And
Yeah,
you, as I said before, you do start to siphon out who those people are. Um, but yeah, the best channels are the people that are very genuine. And I mean, obviously, I think most people on this stream know Rob, and I know he was on earlier on. He's his approach and his attitude towards how he's built his channel, I think, is probably what inspires me. Um, he's proven that you can still be very honest and very authentic and genuine in your approach to helping people and still grow your channel.
definitely.
So he's I think a role model for a lot of people, and I know he doesn't like to classify himself as a guru, and I don't think that's a really good term either. But I think he is an inspiration to a lot of people.
Yeah, because he's the very definition of somebody that just kept on going despite, relative low numbers, relatively low subscribers for the amount of time he'd been on the platform. And after several years of consistency and not giving up, he had that breakout viral video. And I mean a real viral video, like a 500,000 view job. And that
Yeah.
they couldn't have gone to anyone who deserved it more. So he is an inspiration, and he's one of the people that, if anyone here doesn't know, Rob the Maritimer's channel is full of really helpful advice for real people. But I don't think I need to introduce him to most of the audience here. Another channel, while we're on the subject, to really consider looking at would be Nick Nimin. If you don't know about him, he gives some really practical, useful advice. I'll pop the name in the chat. If no one's seen his channel, he's got some great advice. I think that's how you spell it, right? It's not
Ye-
loading at the moment, but anyway, yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's how you
that's
spell
it.
it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he's a really cool dude. He's got some really good advice, and he's not going to sell you the nonsense clickbait stuff like certain other channels might. So yeah, it's really be careful with what advice you do take. I've got another question as well, which I've taken out of one of the conversations that I had with another creator earlier in the week, actually. So I'm going to post that because it's something that I want to talk about, and it's something that could help people. So this was the question that I was asked, and it's something that's going to help a lot of people because editing is one of the things that takes the most amount of time for everyone's production process, for most people anyway. And it's something that I used to almost not look forward to. So there are certain things that I started to do which really sped up my editing process. And you might find this useful, Steve, if it's not something you do already. We spoke about it briefly earlier. And it seems really
Yeah.
simple, but I don't know about you guys, but I would find myself when I was editing, I'd have my A roll and I'd be editing that, I'd chop it up, and then I'd have to source all my B roll, I'd have to source my graphics, I'd have to then, download B roll from websites, film it myself, and I'd be doing this every single time for each video, and it took hours, as well as all my backgrounds, my titles. So what I did, and I don't know if some people might remember Joseph I had on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, from Birders. He's a videographer and editor, and he showed me his setup on Final Cut Pro, and I emulated it myself. And all I did was I took a folder structure in my PC, in my Mac, and I created a folder for graphics, backgrounds, titles, sound effects, B-roll, and homemade B-roll. It sounds so simple, but I spent a bit of time organizing everything into one place. And now when I make my videos, everything's there ready to go, and I just drag and drop it in, and it saves me hours. And it's something that I just want to really promote as something that's worth doing. And it sounds so simple and it sounds quite dull to talk about, but it seriously saved me hours. And as we all know, any amount of time that you can save as a content creator is going to be helpful, even though it might be quite boring to sort through in the first place. So I just thought I'd share that and answer that question.
Yeah, it's definitely an area I need to improve, Jay. You don't want to see my desktop screen on my laptop. There's literally no organizing. I just rely on remembering what I've named files. But yeah, the more I'm getting into it, just anything that can shave time off the
We need
process.
systems, right?
Yeah.
We need systems that we can rely on, and anything, like you said, Steve, anything that shaves time off is going to help us in the long run. And if I can save 2 hours a week in my editing process over time, that's 2 or 3 videos a year that I'm putting out more.
Yeah.
So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful to someone. Hold on a second. Tracy's posted something interesting. The next experiment will be to come up with the title and thumbnail first. She read that tip on my community post, and she tends to film first and then come up with a title and thumbnail as an afterthought. I think that's going to be something that's going to benefit your video, Tracy, especially if you've got a specific subject that you want to talk about in that video. Because I know that you do more of a lifestyle vlog, which is obviously working for you because you've got over 1,000 subs and you've got a regular engaged audience, which is great. But if you had a subject in mind, then that's definitely going to work well for you. And if you want to, just reach out and I'll help you with it, because that's something that I'd be interested in doing, because I find that sort of stuff fun, because I'm quite boring. Catherine's asked a question. Well, actually, we've got a bit of a loaded question here from David. He's asked what channels are clickbaity. I'm not going to answer that question because I don't really want to slate anyone in public. But all I'll say is if you search YouTube growth and you see videos telling you to do one thing or to add a hashtag or inferring that something's easy, then those are the videos that I would suggest are quite clickbaity. And I'll leave it there. It won't be too difficult to find them. The bloke usually wears a hat, and his name's not Steve. So Catherine,
it's not a home of golf hat. No.
it's not a Homer golf hat, even though. Catherine's asked a question. What do you think about the guest on these live streams putting a pinned comment on their channel with a link to the hosts to say that we're hanging out there? Is that something that Steve didn't do, you're saying, basically? Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea. In tonight's instance, Steve's also streaming this on his channel, so I don't think he really needed to. But yeah, I think it could be a good idea. Definitely. I've enjoyed having guests on with me every week. It's definitely made things slightly different to most live streams. You've never done that before, have you, Steve? You've never been on with somebody?
No, yeah, this is the first one, so it's been good though. I think it just adds an extra dynamic. I mean, it's nice to sit and field questions yourself, but um, especially if you're doing it for any length of time, you kind of start to get a bit bored of your own voice. So just having two people on, I think it makes it engaging for everybody.
Yeah, I think so. Well, hopefully I haven't been too selfish with the airtime. Hopefully I've been giving you a fair shot. I know that I
Yeah,
like to
no, oh,
talk.
definitely. Yeah, I think it's been good. I'm sure everyone else would agree. I think it's you know there's nothing better than sitting chewing the fat on anything to do with YouTube. I think we're both in our element, uh, and I think most of the people on the live. But it's good to it's could be good to see a lot of similar or familiar faces. There's a lot of people I don't recognise, but I'm assuming there's maybe some new subscribers of yours, Jay, from the last few days that have maybe come in.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, and I'm obviously really grateful for them. It's an amazing time of my channel really, because I'm at that stage where I'm still small enough that I can really get to know people, and that's one of my favorite things to do. Um, so that's one of the benefits of YouTube that I spoke about earlier, the community, getting to know people, meeting people from around the world. Hosting this podcast every week allows me to do that as well. So I'm incredibly grateful. I'm just going to jump to this question here, because it's quite an interesting one. Clay has asked, this is good to see you, Clay. Clay subscribed to my channel last night, and I checked out his videos. He's got, I can't remember how many subscribers, but if we're using that as a metric, he's got tens of thousands, if not over 100. He's done really well with his channel, and he does like an outdoorsy type content in New Zealand, Catherine's neck of the woods. And he had a video about one of his dogs which passed away, and he went on the last adventure with that dog. It's quite emotional, but anyway, it's a great channel. So I just wanted to shout that out, Clay, and thanks so much for being here tonight. And he's asked where we're getting all of our insights from, and I thank you. That's a great compliment there. The thing is, when you have a channel in the niche that we're in, Clay, I don't know about you, Steve, but you have to kind of know what you're talking about, and a lot of the time that isn't necessarily from experience, although that's becoming more and more from experience as I go. So I spend an awful lot of time researching and testing and documenting what I found to work and not work. So that's all it is. It's basically being a little bit obsessive, spending about 30 hours a week on YouTube, planning videos, writing videos, making videos, talking to people about YouTube, driving the wife nuts about YouTube. It's all of that really, and we're still learning. I'm still learning as I go. Steve's still learning as he goes. I think every single person in this chat is, and if I'm honest, everyone on YouTube's still learning. If they're honest with themselves, there aren't really any experts, and I think that's something that Rob always says, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, and I think watching the likes of Rob's lives and other people in our niche's lives, like Naz's lives as well, for example, um, you get a lot of insights from that. You start to pick up on a lot of kind of common themes of stuff that's getting discussed, and it's
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Sorry, my Alexa's decided to make an
I
interruption.
thought that was the missus giving you grief.
um, yeah, so I think where was I? Yeah, so I think just the more you're consuming from other people in your niche as well, you start to get a lot of insights that way as well.
You do, you do. Catherine's got another question about. Thanks for that, Clay. Appreciate you being here, mate. Catherine's got a question, and I think it's another one about the lives. I think it's something that she's been doing more of herself. I haven't caught one yet because I think it's a little bit of an odd time for me, but I'm going to do my best to be on there, Catherine. So saying to run the guests live in the background if they can to help watch hours for them too. So that's what we're doing tonight. So this will answer another question that David's got about the two-person setup and is it easy to do. So just to put that on the screen as well, this is what David's asked, and then to kill two birds with one stone. Basically, what we're using is we're using StreamYard. It's a platform that's web-based. You connect your YouTube account to it. You set up the live stream from StreamYard, and then it connects. It schedules the stream on YouTube. All you then do is join the room like you would a Zoom link or a Google Meets link, and you give that link to the guest. You both join using the same link, and then it goes live to YouTube. Now, what we're doing tonight, Steve's connected his account as well, so we're streaming to both channels simultaneously using the same stream, basically. So I hope that answers your question, Catherine, and also your question, David. So yeah. That's not very nice, Chappie. I'm going to ban you from this live stream if you speak to us like that again.
We need a moderator now, Jay.
I'm the moderator now, yeah. But yeah, no, thank you very much, Clay. He likes our work, and I appreciate that. It's we strive to give honest advice based on the experiences that we've had. Oh, I certainly do. I know Steve does as well. We both won't share nonsense. We don't want clickbait. We want to have people watch our content because it gives them value and it helps them. And a lot of the time it's aimed towards people new to YouTube, because there are a lot of people that are starting. And there are a lot of people that have been doing it ages that could use a little bit of advice every now and again, because it's such a complicated thing and such a hard thing to do. And it's channels like this that really can help people do that. And YouTube can change lives. So it's really great to be a small part of that, really. So yeah, it looks like we've been going quite a while now. I'm not going to end it just yet, but if anyone's got any more questions for us, now would be the time to pose them. I know that it's getting late here in the UK. Some of you guys are probably just waking up or just starting your day. Chappie, I forgive you, mate. It's fine. But yeah, if there aren't any more questions, I'm just going to say thank you to everyone for being here tonight. Steve, how do you feel about making this a monthly occurrence?
Yeah, no, I'd be more than up for that. I think that would be a good thing to do. I find this format works really well. So yeah, I'm definitely up for that.
Yeah, so we can have the YouTube Q&A with Steve and Jay, which doesn't sound cheesy at all, once a month. I think maybe we do it at the end of the month, the last Friday of every month. What do you say?
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Excellent. I can now start charging him half for my StreamYard subscription. That's perfect. Look at the nervous laughter coming out of the man. No, I'm only joking. It's fine.
You're talking to an Aberdonian. I don't part with money easily.
I know. I used to work my colleague who finally he moved to New Zealand. He was the tightest man I've ever met, and he was a Scot. So it's true what you say.
Yeah, I'm just living up to the stereotype.
Pretty much, yeah. You are. Okay, fine. Well, thank you ever so much, everyone. It's been an absolute blast. I need to go and get a drink of water because it's been nearly 2 hours of continuous rambling. Steve, thank you so much for being here with me. I look forward to next month's. Hopefully I haven't spoken over you too much because I've got a nasty habit of doing that. And thank you, everyone. God bless. And until next time, I'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Take care, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye for now.